Good evening, everybody. The North Ridgeville City Council meeting is now in session. Today is Monday, October 17th, 2022. Please rise for the invocation. Father, we come to you today asking for your guidance, wisdom, and support as we begin this meeting. Help us engage in meaningful discussion and help us to work together to nurture the bonds of our great community and our shared visions. We ask you to bless the city of North Ridgeville and all of its residents. We pray these things in your name. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please call the roll.
Stoney.
Here.
Bruce. Here. Havens. Here. Winkle. Here. Haley.
Here.
DeVries. Here. Jacobs. Here. Mayor.
Here.
Safety Service Director.
Here.
Law Director.
Here.
Engineer.
Here.
Auditor.
Here.
Board of Council. Here.
So under the approval of minutes, we have the city council meeting minutes dated October 3rd, 2022. Are there any changes or corrections to those minutes? Hearing none, the minutes are approved as submitted. We also have this evening the committee of the whole meeting minutes, also dated October 3rd of 2022. Are there any changes or corrections to those minutes? Hearing none, those minutes are approved as submitted as well. Please note, council has also received the Planning Commission special meeting minutes dated September 27th, 2022, as well as the Planning Commission meeting minutes dated October 11th, 2022. Next up is our lobby session. In a moment, the lobby session will open, which will allow an opportunity for the public to address both city council and the administration as well. Anybody wishing to speak will be allowed up to 3 minutes. We do ask that you speak from the podium and begin by stating your name and address for the record. So at this time, the lobby session is open. Is there anybody who wishes to address council or the administration this evening? All right, seeing none, we will move on to administrative reports. First, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. President. Under on tonight's agenda, under first readings is T-153, ordinance authorizing an encroachment and reimbursement agreement with Columbia Gas Transmission to remove and construct a new casing for a high-pressure underground natural gas pipeline. I'll be asking to dispense with second and third readings for this and add the emergency clause. This work needs to be completed before the construction of the Peanut Roundabout can move forward. Give you a little history on this. Unfortunately, Columbia Gas was provided with information about a year ago. Never really did anything with it, just sat on it and basically ignored it. Then a few weeks to months ago, they showed up out of the blue and said, you can't do anything over there because we have a gas line that we need to do something with. So it came out of left field. We had no idea. And unfortunately, they didn't do their work like they should. And so we're now bringing this to you at the last second. And they need to get this work done, like I said, in order for the project to continue. So you'll see the ordinance on here, and I'll might as well take care of this right now. You have in front of you T-155, which I will make a motion to suspend the bylaws and place T-155 under first readings. This is an appropriation amendment ordinance that addresses that money that is required for the T-153 project, and there's some other information on there as well that I'm sure our auditor will fill you in on.
Second.
Motion was made by the mayor and seconded by Swing to suspend the bylaws and add T-155 to tonight's agenda. Clerk, please call the roll.
Swing.
Yes.
Bruce. Yes. Havens. Yes. Winkle.
Yes.
Haley.
Yes.
DeVries. Yes. Jacob.
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously and is added to the agenda.
All right, moving on, we have our One Vision, One North Ridgeville project. If you haven't heard about it by now, you can go to our city's website at nridgeville.org and get all the information that you've ever wanted to know. There are all sorts of videos out there to fill you in on any other information that you'd like. But we've talked so much about that. I don't want to forget about the charter amendments that are going to be on the ballot this time as well. There are 8 of them. We're asking voters to consider and approve those changes as well. All of those amendments are available on our city's website for more information. If you want to come by and have coffee and conversation with me, the next one's happening on Monday, October 24th at 8:30 here in council chambers. And as always, it's a great time. Spaghetti dinner is scheduled for October 28th, which is a Friday. As always, it's from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. at the Senior Center. Tickets are now $8 for adults, $7 for seniors, $5 for children 10 and under, and soda and dessert are available for $1 each. Thank you to VFW Post 9871 for sponsoring this event on the 28th. And then Trick or Treat is scheduled for Halloween. It's on Monday, October 31st from 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. And if you're passing out candy, please leave your street or porch light on so the kids know that you are participating. And just please watch out for all those ghouls and goblins as you're driving around as well. That concludes my report. Thank you.
Mayor, Safety Service Director.
One comment, the temporary stop sign that has been up at Route and Chestnut Ridge for what seems like many months is now down. And the long-awaited permanent placement of the permanent stop sign, there was a lot of conversation as to exactly how it should be painted, where it should be placed. I know engineering was involved in it, as well as the police department, and it is up. And if you've noticed it, it's proper height, and it looks better than that. The little one that was down on about 3 feet off the ground. So luckily there was no accidents, and we'll move forward as we stop that stop sign.
Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Service Director. Thank you. Engineer.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just had a few updates. The sewer for the Center Ridge Road Sanitary Sewer Extension Project has been approved and accepted, and property owners can now tie in. Letters from the engineering department went out last week that explain in detail the procedure for tying in. If any property owners have further questions, they can feel free to call the engineering department. Columbia Gas has completed their service line relocation work for the roundabout at Stoney, Mills, and Avalon. And as Mayor mentioned, ordinance T-153 will give us the authority to move forward with their transmission division, which is the gas main that Mayor had mentioned that needs some work to be done before we can move forward with our project. Also, some utility work that needs to be done prior to bidding the project includes utility pole relocation and aerial utility relocates. So as this work comes to conclusion, we can work on getting the bid out of our department. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Audrey.
Thank you, Council President. Before council tonight is T-154, which is a resolution accepting the amounts and rates as determined by the Budget Commission and authorizing the county auditor to collect on the tax levies. The deadline to have this resolution to the county auditor is November 1st. So I would ask council to please adopt this legislation tonight with the emergency clause to allow us to meet that deadline. As the mayor stated earlier, T-155, the amount being requested for the capital project fund is in support of T-153. The amount that is being requested under the sewer fund is to support the ordinance 5962, which was for the sanitary sewer master plan. The original appropriation for the master plan was $150,000, and that ordinance allowed for 350, which is the amount of the contract. So this 200,000 is the difference. And that concludes my report.
Ms. Hutter. Under other reports, council has been receipt of the September 2022 Fire Department report, the September 2022 Building Department report, as well as the September 2022 Water Distribution and EPA report. We do also have a council committee report this evening. Clerk, please read the committee of the whole report.
Committee of the whole report dated October 3rd, 2022. The committee made a motion to recommend ordinance T 136-2022 with the following amendments. Change the time from 9 a.m. to 11 p.m. and then also 4 p.m. to 11 p.m. and strike out allowing the Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays before and after July 3, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. In addition to the amendments, add a second sentence to the beginning of the legislation referring to the Ohio Fire Code.
Mr. President,
Yes, Mrs. Swing.
move to accept.
Second.
It was moved by Swank and seconded by Booth to accept the committee of the whole report. All in favor, say yes.
Yes.
All opposed, say no. That'll bring us to new business. So under new business, there were two issues on which the planning commission took action at its October 11th, 2022 meeting. Clerk, if you could please read the first one for Angie's Coffee Shop.
Angie's Coffee, 34906 Center Ridge Road, North Ridgeville, Ohio, 44039, parcel number 07-00-016-101-051, applicant Ryan Mizuka, Avalon Holdings LLC, 19885 Detroit Road, 210 Rocky River, Ohio, 44116. Proposal consists of a 312 square foot drive through only coffee shop. Property is zoned B3. Planning Commission action approved by a vote of 3-1.
Mr. President,
Yes, Mr. Evans.
yeah, the encouraging thing about Angie's Coffee, it is a small facility, drive-through only, but it's going into a parking area that will not limit future development. So I move to approve.
Second.
The motion was made by Evans and seconded by Winkle to approve the planning commission approval of Angie's Coffee Shop. All in favor, say yes.
Yes.
All opposed, say no. Okay, number 2, clerk, planning commission appointment to community reinvestment area housing funds.
Planning Commission appointment to the Community Reinvestment Area Housing Council. Planning Commission action approved by a vote of 4-0 for the nomination of Jennifer Swallow.
Mr. President,
Yes, Mr. Evans.
move to approve.
Second.
The motion was made by Evans and seconded by Winkle to approve the planning commission's nomination of Jennifer Swallow. All in favor, say yes.
Yes.
All opposed, say no. Also under new business this evening, we have a transfer liquor permit request. Clerk, please read that.
Request from the Ohio Division of Liquor Control for transfer permit request for Mold Development Company, Ohio Partnership at 34885 Lorraine Road to AAHAMA LLC, DBA Butternut Food Mart at 34885 Lorraine Road.
Mr. President,
Yes, Mr. Booth.
I'll make a motion not to require a hearing on this, so the permit can be sent to the state for final disposition by November 7th, 2022.
Second.
It was moved by Booth and seconded by DeVries to not request a hearing so that this permit can be sent to the state for final disposition by the deadline. All in favor, say yes.
Yes.
All opposed, say no. That'll bring us to recess.
Mr. President,
Yes, Mr. DeVries.
dispense recess.
Second.
It was moved by DeVries and seconded by Winkle to dispense with recess. All in favor, say yes.
Yes.
All opposed, say no. Okay, we'll move on to first readings. Up first is T 153.
T 153-2022, an ordinance authorizing the mayor of the city of North Ridgeville to enter into encouragement and reimbursement agreement with Columbia Gas Transmission to remove and construct a new casing for a high pressure underground natural gas pipeline and other improvements not to exceed $375,000.
Mr. President,
Yes, Mr. Drew.
motion to suspend second and third reading.
Second.
It was moved by DeReese and seconded by Winkle to dispense with the second and third readings for T-153. Are there any comments or questions?
Mr. President,
Yes, Mr. Booth.
just a question of clarification. So this is a reimbursement, so once the money's spent, we will get this money back. How does the reimbursement work?
I am unfamiliar with this being a reimbursement. This is money the city may be paying for this work, our portion for the work to be done.
So we will pay this. So I'm not understanding the term reimbursement.
Sure. Columbia Gas is getting reimbursed for the work that they're performing.
So are we sharing this with any of this cost with the city of Avalon? Since the roundabout is in.
We are not. This, the agreement between the two cities, which was signed sometime in the 70s, I think it was, says that anything west of Jay Cox is our responsibility. And so that roundabout is our sole responsibility. And the costs associated there too.
And we were not aware that we have to spend another $375,000 until now.
Until a few weeks ago. Like I said, Columbia Gas had the information for over a year, sat on it, did nothing with it. It wasn't until a few weeks ago that they came out and said, you can't move forward without over our property because we have a utility easement over there. And it just came out of the blue. Surprising, but that's what happened.
And again, I don't need a exact figure, but the total amount of the project prior to this is roughly how much?
1.5 million.
Okay, so now it's 1.8, something about. Thank you.
Are there any additional comments or questions?
Mr. President,
Yes, Mr. Booth.
I just want to make a quick comment pertaining to Columbia Gas. I have to admit, I have experience with them on the same type of situation. And they came to me on a particular project after the project was finished, telling me I couldn't locate my building there because there was a 4-inch gas line underneath, even though they were told about this project. And it wound up costing quite a bit of money to move the building. So I understand what you're going through with Columbia Gas.
Thank you, Mr. Havens.
We did discuss that possibility that if we had known, if they had said something earlier, maybe we could have moved the roundabout over a little bit to avoid their line, but they didn't say anything until, you know, this is well underway. We're ready to break ground almost, other than this one piece of property that we're trying to secure in order to move forward. They just came out of the blue and said, hold on a second here. It was ridiculous.
It's what happened to me as well.
Mr. President,
Yes, Mr. Booth.
if no one else. But even though now we understand that we have to pay this in order to complete the roundabout, it's still the administration's understanding that the additional monies still is better than the other traffic alternatives that we would want to do, because again, there is traffic, there's a traffic issue there, there's safety issues there that need to be addressed.
Right.
But just want to make sure that we look through all of
At this point, with the money that we've spent on the project, we're well into it, and to change courses at this point in time, it would be more expensive than, you know, what we would forego all the money that we've already spent. So it's, you know, if we had known that at the time, it might have been a different conversation. I don't think so though, because it was a significant difference between the roundabout and the signalized intersection. And more importantly, I don't believe that there was a significant enough safety improvement, given the fact that there would have to be 2 left-hand turn lanes from Mills onto Stoney, which, you know, look, we have 2 left-hand turn lanes on Lear going over to Lorraine. people get confused by that at times. So it just would create another traffic conflict point, which was what we were trying to avoid. So that that alternative of a signalized intersection just wasn't a smart one from a safety standpoint.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
President, through the administration, is there something that we could have done to prevent this, like? I know you mailed it to Columbia Gas, but do they not have to respond?
Well, like most utilities, they don't care about anybody except themselves. And the engineering department reached out to them a couple of different times and they just didn't say anything. It's a lot like Windstream or the railroad or, you know, any other entity like that. They are very, very similar. And again, they don't really care about anybody except themselves.
Well, and it's a lot of money.
It is, and that's why I was
It's
really-
a different division than
really
Columbia.
annoyed.
It's their transmission division, so I'd like to think we have a good relationship with Columbia Gas, you know, the local service, but, you know,
This is
I'm
Ken.
familiar with the transmission.
If I could also add, keep in mind that this project is not fully funded by the city. There is an OPWC grant and loan that we've already entered into an agreement with as part of this project, so bearing that in mind, that full 1.5 is not absorbed fully by the city.
Yeah, and we did have some discussions with them in negotiations where we did get the price reduced from what they originally proposed.
It was higher than 375.
It was.
Are there any additional questions? Just for clarification, but didn't you say during your report that Columbia Gas has already done this work?
So this is the transmission line, the 4-inch service and service line, and then other house laterals had to be moved in addition to this work. So that division has already completed their work, and then this is the transmission line.
Which is a different part of the Columbia
Separate.
Gas side.
Separate pieces.
Any other comments or questions? Okay, so the motion was made by DeVries and seconded by Winkle to dispense with the second and third readings for T-153. All in favor say yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
All opposed say no.
No,
Clerk, please call the roll.
Swink,
no,
Booth,
Yes.
Stevens,
Yes.
Winkle,
Yes.
Haywick,
yes,
DeVries,
Yes.
Jacobs.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-1. Dispense with the second and third.
Mr. President,
Yes, Mr. DeVries.
motion to adopt.
Second.
Mr. President, motion to add the emergency clause.
Second.
We need a reason for the emergency clause.
For reasons stated earlier by the mayor to be able to cover the additional cost due to the late response of Columbia Gas.
I'm sorry, who seconded? It was moved by DeVries and seconded by Avens to add the emergency clause to T-153 for the reasons stated earlier in the meeting by the mayor. On that emergency clause alone, all in favor say yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
All opposed say no.
no,
Clerk, please call the roll.
Swink,
no,
Booth,
Yes.
Stevens,
Yes.
Winkle,
Yes.
Haywick,
Yes.
DeVries,
Yes.
Jacobs.
Yes.
Motion as the emergency clause passes 6-1.
It was then moved by DeVries and seconded by Winkle to adopt T-153 with the emergency clause in place. Are there any additional comments or questions at this time?
Mr. President,
Yes, Mr. Bruce.
just a comment, again, this is a lot of money, but it's been discussed here and in other meetings prior to this, working on this roundabout. It's needed, needs to be done. We've already got a lot of money put into it. It wouldn't make, in my opinion, fiscal sense not to move forward with this option, to make sure that it gets done.
Anybody else have any comments or questions?
Mr. President,
Mr. Havens?
based upon my experience with Columbia Gas, I have to admit, I was tempted to make them wait for their money, but decided that would be a little too petty. So decided to make it emergency.
Mr. Havens? Any additional comments or questions? So again, it was moved by DeVries and seconded by Winkle to adopt T-153 with the emergency clause in place. Clerk, please call the roll.
Swing,
No,
Booth,
Yes.
Stevens,
Yes.
Winkle,
Yes.
Haywood,
Yes.
DeVries,
Yes.
Jacobs.
Yes.
Motion carries 6-1 and becomes ordinance number 6011-2022.
T-154.
T-154-2022, a resolution accepting the amounts and rates as determined by the Budget Commission and authorizing the necessary tax levies and certifying them to the county auditor.
Mr. President,
Yes, Mr. DeVries.
motion to dispense with the second, third reading.
Second.
It was moved by DeVries and seconded by Booth to dispense with the second and third readings for T-154. Are there any comments or questions at this time? Hearing none, all in favor say yes.
Yes.
All opposed say no.
Mr. President,
Yes, Mr. DeVries.
motion to adopt.
Second.
Mr. President, motion to add the emergency clause to meet the November 1st deadline as stated by the auditor to get this over to the county auditor.
Second.
It was moved by DeVries and seconded by Booth to add the emergency clause to T-154 in order to get it over to the county auditor by the deadline on that emergency clause alone. All in favor say yes.
yes,
All opposed say no. It was then moved by DeVries and seconded by Booth to adopt T-154 with the emergency clause in place. Are there any comments or questions at this time? Hearing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Swing,
yes,
Booth.
Yes.
Stevens.
Yes.
Winkle,
Yes.
Haywood,
Yes.
DeVries,
Yes.
Jacobs.
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously and becomes resolution 1578-2022.
T-155.
T-155-2022, an ordinance amending ordinance number 5889-2021 of the city of North Ridgeville, Ohio, providing appropriations for the period commencing January 1st, 2022 and ending December 31st, 2022.
Mr. President,
Yes, Mr. DeVries.
motion to dispense with the second and third reading.
Second.
It was moved by DeVries, seconded by Awig to dispense with the second and third readings for T-155. Do we have any comments or questions? Hearing none, all in favor say yes.
Yes.
All opposed say no.
no,
Clerk, please call the roll.
Swing,
no,
Booth,
Yes.
Stevens,
Yes.
Winkle,
Yes.
Haywood,
Yes.
DeVries,
Yes.
Jacobs.
Yes.
Motion carries 6-1 to dispense with the second and third readings.
Mr. President,
Yes, Mr. DeVries.
motion to adopt.
Second.
President, motion to add the emergency clause so that we can move forward with the appropriations on this and get it paid up so we can start the project.
Second.
It was moved by DeVries and seconded by Awig to add the emergency clause to T-155 in order to move the project forward. On that emergency clause alone, all in favor say yes.
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 All opposed say no.
no,
Clerk, please call the roll.
Swing,
no,
Booth,
Yes.
Stevens,
Yes.
Winkle,
Yes.
Haywood,
Yes.
DeVries,
Yes.
Jacobs.
Yes.
The motion carries 6-1 to add the emergency clause.
It was then moved by DeVries and seconded by Awig to adopt T-155 with the emergency clause in place. Are there any comments or questions? Hearing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Swing,
no,
Booth,
Yes.
Stevens,
Yes.
Winkle,
Yes.
Haywood,
Yes.
DeVries,
Yes.
Jacobs.
Yes.
Motion carries 6-1 and becomes ordinance number 6012-2022.
Moving on to second readings, T-148.
T-148-2022, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to advertise for bids and enter into a 12-month contract with renewal options according to law and the manner prescribed by law, the lowest and best bidder for custodial services not to exceed $90,000 per year.
T-151.
T-151-2022, an ordinance amending sections of 1266.04 and 1268.04 of the North Bridgeville zoning code to update lot and yard requirements.
Brings us to third readings. T-141.
T-141 2022, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to negotiate and enter into a contract according to law and in a manner prescribed by law with the lowest and best bidder for the relocation and installation of a new influence screening system at the French Creek wastewater treatment plant not to exceed $800,000.
President,
Yes, Mr. Smith.
move to adopt.
Second.
It was moved by Swink, seconded by Winkle to adopt T-141. This time, are there any comments or questions? Hearing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Swink.
Yes.
Booth.
Yes.
Stevens.
Yes.
Winkle.
Yes.
Haywick.
Yes.
DeVries.
Yes.
Jacobs.
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously and becomes ordinance number 6013-2022.
As for meeting announcements, there not on the screen, but there will be a public hearing on Monday, November 7th, 2022 at 6:30 p.m. right here in City Council chambers. And that is to discuss the proposed zoning changes. The next regular City Council meeting will also be held on Monday, November 7th, 2022 here in City Council chambers. And that meeting will begin at 7 p.m. as usual. Do any of the members of council or the administration have any final comments or questions this evening? This meeting is adjourned.